You have just completed your Life in Nazi Germany test. This presentation is to help you go over your exam answers and think about what you did well and identify areas for improvement. You answered 4 exam-style questions. Here you'll be shown the questions, the guidance you're given for completing them, and some annotated sample answers. Annotate your own answers to show what you have done well and areas for improvement. Set yourself a target or targets to improve your exam answers. This is an example of being a reflective learner, looking back over what you've done, identifying strengths and areas for improvement, and setting yourselves goals to achieve in the future. This was question 1. It's a 4-mark source-based question. The question asks, what can you learn from source A about the work of the Strength Through Joy organisation? As you can see, source A shows you a picture of the KDF wagon. It says source A, a Nazi poster from 1935 showing a Volkswagen car and a savings book. The slogan says, Your Strength Through Joy car. Let's have a look at the copy of the guidance you have stuck on the inside of your exercise book for answering exam questions. 4-mark questions. You can expect the question to be worded something along the lines of, what can you learn from source A about? You should structure your answer by saying, source A tells me that. Give a fact, something you can see in the source. Evidence to support this is, take a quote from the source, or in this instance, describe what you can see in the image. This suggests, or from this I can infer. What does that make you think? Make sure your inference is focused on the question. So in this case, what can you learn about the work of the KDF? This is an example answer. This is for all target grades. You should aim to make a point, give some evidence, and make an inference, regardless of your target grade. This answer says, Source A tells me that the Strength Through Joy organisation helped people to save for a car. Evidence to support this is the poster shows a car and a savings book. Behind it, there are stamps in the savings book. This suggests that the Strength Through Joy organisation tried to encourage people to work by offering them incentives. Let's have a look at the examiner's annotation. The answer starts off by giving a fact from the source. It's then supported by evidence. In this case, they've described the image, the car and the savings book. And then they have made an inference. They've said what this suggests to them. And you can see the inference is focused on the question. It's explaining the work of Strength Through Joy. The examiner would give an answer like this, 4 out of the possible 4 marks. You now need to go over your own answer to the question. Did you receive 4 out of 4 marks? If so, you need to be able to identify why. Highlight the fact, the evidence and the inference. If not, what do you need to do to achieve the 4 marks next time? You could try having a go at writing another answer to this question that would reach the full 4 marks. We're now going to look at question 2. This was a 9-mark question. You're given 2 options. You must select only one. If you write an answer about both options, the examiner will only mark the first one you have written. The question asks, the box below shows 2 groups. Choose one and explain how they opposed the Nazi government. The White Rose Group or the Edelweiss Pirates. The guidance you've been given for answering 9-mark questions says that you should expect and explain why or explain how question. You need to aim to write 2 PEA paragraphs. So give a reason, make a point. Give some evidence to support your point. As you don't have a source, this evidence comes from your knowledge. And then your analysis is this means that or because of this. Remember, you're explaining why or explaining how. Let's have a look at a sample answer for target grades A, B and C. We'll then go on to look at a sample answer for targets D, E and F. The target A, B or C answer says, the Edelweiss Pirates opposed the Nazi government by attacking Hitler youth groups. Edelweiss Pirates would go camping and walking. They would find and beat up Hitler youth groups and tell jokes about them. This meant that the pirates were opposing the Nazi government because they refused to join the Hitler youth groups even when they were compulsory, which meant that Hitler did not have total control over the German people. Another way that the Edelweiss Pirates opposed the Nazi government was by helping other Nazi opponents. The pirates would help people that escaped from concentration camps and hide those that refused to fight in the war. This meant that they were opposing the Nazi government because they were helping others to resist them, which meant Hitler did not have total control. The examiner's comments on this answer, they've identified a clear point at the beginning of the paragraph. There's evidence this person has used their knowledge to describe what the Edelweiss Pirates did. They have then given some analysis. They've explained how the pirates were opposing the Nazis, so it's focused on the question. There's then a second PEA paragraph. This demonstrates to the examiner that you've got a range of knowledge on the Edelweiss Pirates. You know more than one piece of evidence of what the pirates did to oppose the Nazis. The examiner would have given this answer 9 out of 9 marks. Have a look over your own answer. If you answered about the White Rose group, the knowledge will be different, but the structure will be the same. So you're looking for a point, some evidence from your knowledge, and analysis to explain how that was opposing the Nazis. Annotate your own answer. What have you done well? What do you need to do to improve? This is a target grade D, E or F answer. The Edelweiss Pirates were groups of German young people who did not want to join Hitler Youth groups. They did not agree with Nazi ideas, so they set up their own groups. Boys and girls would get together to go camping and walking. They told anti-Nazi jokes, and sometimes they would beat up Hitler Youth groups. The Edelweiss Pirates also tried to cause problems for the Nazi Party. Some of its members were arrested for attacking a Nazi officer. They also used to help people like communists that didn't want to fight in the war, or who had escaped from concentration camps. Some Edelweiss Pirate members were hung for opposing the Nazis. The examiner's comments on this answer. This person has told the story of the Edelweiss Pirates and what they did. They show good knowledge of the pirates and what they did to oppose the Nazis, which is answering the question they've been asked. So this answer would have received 5 out of 9 marks. This is what you're aiming for with a target grade of a D, E or F. Tell the story. So whether you've answered on the Edelweiss Pirates or the White Rose group, you're looking to demonstrate good knowledge of who they were, what they did. Tell the story of the group. Have a look back over your own answer. Have you been able to demonstrate good knowledge of who the pirates or the White Rose group were? What do you need to do to improve your own answer? Question 3 was also a 9-mark question. Again, you've got 2 options. You have to select only one. In this instance, choose one and explain their importance to the Nazi Party, the Hitler Youth or Strength Through Joy. So again, you've got the same guidance. 2 PEA paragraphs. You're giving a point, some evidence from your knowledge, and explaining how that meant they were important to the Nazis. Again, we're going to start with an A, B or C target answer, and then we will look at a D, E or F target grade answer. The A, B or C target grade answer says, the Hitler Youth was important to the Nazi Party because it was preparing children for their future roles. Boys would go marching and camping. They would learn outdoor survival skills. Girls would also go walking and camping, and they would learn to care for children and a home. This meant that the youth was important because it prepared boys for their intended future in the army and girls to fulfill their role as mothers. Another reason why the Hitler Youth was important was because it was helping Hitler to preserve his 1,000-year Reich. Hitler Youth groups taught children Nazi ideas and beliefs. By doing exciting activities, young people grew to love the Nazis and support them. Some even informed on parents who said anything negative about the Nazis. This meant that the Hitler Youth was important because it was increasing Hitler's control over the young people of Germany and creating future Nazis. The examiner's comments on this answer. This candidate has given a clear point at the start of the paragraph. There's evidence to support the point that they have made. This comes from their knowledge. They're describing the activities that the Hitler Youth did. They've then given analysis, explained why this was important to Hitler. How did it help the Nazi Party? Again, there's a second PEA paragraph showing good knowledge. evidence explaining what the Hitler Youth did, analysis explaining how that was important to Hitler. This would have been a 9 out of 9 mark question. If you looked at the Strength Through Joy programme, the knowledge will have been different, but the structure will be the same. So you need to go through your answers, have a look at what you've done well, highlight the point, the evidence, the analysis in both of your paragraphs, set yourself a target to improve. This is a D, E or F target grade answer. The Hitler Youth was an organisation set up by the Nazis for German children. There were different groups of boys and girls. Boys started at the age of 6 in the Little Fellows, then they moved up to the German young folk, then to the Hitler Youth. They did things like marching and camping and went away for weekends. They also did a lot of sport. Girls were members of the Young Maidens until they were 14. They learnt to care for their health and look after a family. Young people liked the Hitler Youth because they did exciting things like going to camps with their friends. Examiners' comments on this answer are that it tells the story of the Hitler Youth and what they did. It's got good knowledge in there, shows they understand the Hitler Youth and how it worked. Therefore, again, this is a 5 out of 9 mark answer. Are you able to show good knowledge of either the Hitler Youth or the Strength Through Joy organisation? Have a look back over your own answer. If you haven't demonstrated good knowledge, you need to make sure you're doing plenty of revision to fill in any gaps. Can you improve your answer to make it at least 5 out of 9 marks? Okay, finally we're going to look at the 16 mark essay question. The question asks you, the main role of education in Nazi Germany was to prepare boys and girls for different roles. Do you agree? Explain your answer. You may use the following in your answer and any other information of your own. Girls studied domestic science, boxing was compulsory in school for boys, or pupils had lessons in race studies. This is the guidance you've been given to answer 9 mark questions. First of all, we will deal with the question itself. You can expect a 16 mark question to be a to what extent question or a how far do you agree question. The bullet points that you're given to help you answer the question are not compulsory to use. You do not have to use the bullet points. You can use them as a basis to expand upon with more of your own knowledge, but you can't just regurgitate what they tell you. You can and you should use your own knowledge to support what you are saying. In your answer then, you need to make sure you give an introduction. What's your essay going to say? Set out your argument. You must write 3 or 4 PEA paragraphs. You need to try to support and challenge the question. Remember the structure for PEA paragraphs. If you're going to agree with a question, you make a point, something that agrees with or supports the question. Evidence from your knowledge, and then explain how that answers the question. This meant that or because of this, the analysis. Always linking back to the question you've been asked. Make a point to disagree with the question, something that challenges or disagrees with the question, evidence to support it, and again, link your answer back to the question that you have been asked. You must end a 16 mark question with a conclusion. It's the full essay question on the exam. You need to try to reach a judgment that answers the question. So this question is a how far do you agree? So you need to say things like I mostly, I largely, I mainly agree or disagree with the question. You're going to support and challenge the question, so you can't completely agree or completely disagree. It needs to be mostly or mainly or largely. Okay, let's have a look at some sample answers. Again, we're going to start with the A, B or C target. We'll go through introduction, the paragraphs and the conclusion. Then we'll go on to the D, E or F target answer. So if you're in a D, E or F target band, you might want to skip the video on a couple of minutes and look for the green highlighted answer rather than the red ones. Okay, the A, B or C target introduction. When the Nazi Party came to power, Hitler began changing education to help him meet his goals. These goals included teaching boys to be fighters in the army and girls to be mothers and housewives. This would prepare them for their future role in Germany. However, education in Nazi Germany was also used to help Hitler to gain control over the young people of Germany. The examiner's marks on this introduction, you can see they've set out the point they're going to agree, highlighted here in red. They've also said how they're going to challenge this question in their essay. It's a good, clear introduction that sets out their argument. You don't need to write a great deal. You just need to say what you are going to say in your essay. The first paragraph. In this instance, we are supporting the question first of all. So the first paragraph says, one of the main roles of education in Nazi Germany was to prepare boys to fight in the army. At school, boys' timetables had a lot of PE lessons. They had to pass fitness tests, and sports like boxing were compulsory. Other lessons such as maths used military calculations, like how many bombs an aeroplane could carry. History lessons taught boys about the German heroes of the Great War and the evils of the Treaty of Versailles. This meant that education was preparing boys for their future role in Germany because it was making them fit, strong and ready to fight in the army. They had an understanding of the skills needed for military service and learned how important it was to fulfil their role. Education also prepared girls for their future role. Okay, the examiner's marks on this paragraph. We start off with a clear point which supports the question. They've given us detailed evidence explaining what was taught in school in different subjects. They haven't just focused on the fitness aspect of boys' education. They've also looked at the maths and the history, the wider influences on boys' thinking. The analysis answers the question. It explains how education was preparing boys for their future role. Those of you that have got A-star targets, you need to be looking at the final sentence. It's a linking sentence to the next paragraph. Right? It links to the next argument they're going to make. In a moment, at the start of paragraph 3, we'll look at the other way you can write linking sentences. Okay, on to paragraph 2 then, it's the other paragraph to support the question. Another main role of education in Nazi Germany was to prepare girls to be housewives. Girls were taught a different timetable to boys at school. Some subjects were similar, like race studies and German history, but they also learnt domestic science. This taught girls how to care for their home and their family. Maths lessons for girls taught them things like how to calculate rations for preparing family meals. They were also taught the importance of having lots of children. This meant that education was preparing girls for their future role in Germany because it was teaching them to be good mothers to bring up lots of children for the future of Germany. They knew they had an important role caring for the men that would fight for Germany and providing new soldiers for Hitler's army. Here again we can see a clear point at the start of the paragraph which is supported by detailed evidence. Like the first paragraph, they're not just focusing on the domestic science aspect of girls' education, they're also looking at their wider education and how it was all aiming to influence them into becoming the housewives that Germany needed. Analysis is answering the question, it's explaining how this is preparing girls for their future role within Germany. Okay, we don't have a linking sentence on the end of this paragraph. Instead, there is a linking sentence in the beginning of the following paragraph, which is the alternative way of doing your linking paragraphs. So it can either go at the end of one paragraph or the beginning of the next. So here our linking sentence is: although preparing children for their future role was important, Hitler also used education as a way of gaining control over the young people in Germany. In school, both boys and girls were taught the importance of being good Germans. They were taught Nazi ideas and beliefs. For example, they learnt about the differences between Jews and Germans and the importance of selecting the right mate. They were also taught about the evils of communism. Teachers had to join the Nazi party and teach what they were told to by the party. This meant that one of the main purposes of education was to create future loyal members of the party and ensure children were taught Nazi ideas. It was a method of controlling the young people in Germany. Okay, so we're challenging the question, but again we've got the P, the E and the A structure. Clear point, detailed evidence explaining how education was used to prepare children to be new Nazis, and explaining how that challenges the question. So they're not preparing them for a role necessarily just as a mother or a soldier, but also as a good, strong German, being held under the control of Hitler and the Nazi party. Okay, so we've seen the 3 paragraphs, how they support the question in 2 paragraphs, but they have provided us with a challenge to the question showing balanced knowledge. This also needs to come across in the conclusion. So let's have a look at their judgment. In conclusion, one of the main aims of education in Nazi Germany was to prepare young people for the future roles as mothers and soldiers. However, I do not agree that this was the main purpose. Hitler wanted to ensure that he had total control over the German people in every part of their lives. He used education to help him to gain control of Germans at a young age, to help create new Nazis and build the Thousand-Year Reich. Okay, here you can see there's a clear judgment in answer to the question. They do not completely agree that that was the main purpose. Okay, they have explained why they've made this judgment as well. This essay, when put together, would receive 16 out of 16 marks. So you can see that what you're being asked to do is not unachievable. It's simple point evidence analysis. It's using your knowledge as evidence and just linking what you're saying back to the question. Go through your own answer. What mark did you get? Can you identify why? Which areas are strengths? Which areas need to be improved? You could have a go at rewriting your essay to see if you could achieve a higher grade than before. Okay, we're going to go through the D, E or F target grade for the 16-mark question. Again, we've got the introduction, 3 paragraphs and conclusion, so the structure doesn't change. What we're looking for in the D, E or F target answer is point and evidence, showing that you know about education in Nazi Germany. So the introduction here. The Nazi Party took control of education and made teachers join the party. They taught boys and girls different things. In this essay, I will explain how far the main purpose of education was to prepare children for future roles in Germany. Okay, so they've given us a little bit of background information there, and they've told us what they're going to say in their essay. So they've set out the introduction. It's clear, it tells us what you're going to read. It's a good introduction. First paragraph, supporting the question. One of the main roles of education in Nazi Germany was to prepare boys to fight in the army. At school, boys' timetables had a lot of PE lessons. They had to pass fitness tests, and sports like boxing were compulsory. Other subjects, such as maths and had military calculations, like how many bombs an aeroplane could carry. History lessons taught boys about German heroes of the Great War and about the evils of the Treaty of Versailles. Okay, so you look at this paragraph, you've still got the point and the evidence structure there. If your target is a D, E or F, your focus needs to be showing your knowledge. Okay, so you are showing that you understand what education was like for boys, the purpose of education for boys, so describing what they were taught. Okay, so try to describe what education was like in detail. Second paragraph, still supporting the question, we're looking at the perspective of girls. Another main role of education in Nazi Germany was to prepare girls to be housewives. Girls were taught a different timetable to boys at school. Some subjects were similar, like race studies and German history, but they also learnt domestic science. This taught girls how to care for their home and their family. Maths lessons for girls taught them things like how to calculate rations for preparing family meals. They were also taught that they should have lots of children and that they would get rewards for the more children they had in the future. Again, this person has given us a clear point and detailed knowledge in their evidence. They're describing what education was like for girls, demonstrating their knowledge. Revision is going to be key to being able to do this in your essays. Then they need to challenge the question, so show that there was another purpose to education. It wasn't just to prepare them for their future roles. This answer says, Hitler also used education as a way of gaining control over the young people in Germany. In school, both boys and girls were taught how to be good Germans. They were taught Nazi ideas and beliefs. For example, they learnt about differences between Jews and Germans and the importance of selecting the right mate. They were also taught about the evils of communism. Teachers had to join the Nazi Party and teach what they were told to by the party. New textbooks showed the Nazis as heroes. So we've still got the point and the evidence structure. They show a wide range of knowledge of how education was used in Nazi Germany. Describing education. Finally then, you need to finish with a conclusion on a 16-mark question. This conclusion says, in conclusion, Hitler used schools to teach boys to grow up to be good soldiers and girls to grow up to be good mothers, but it also was a way for Hitler to keep control of the young people. You need to try to summarise your argument in your conclusion. Okay? This kind of answer would be a level 2 answer, which is 8 marks. Top of a level 2, 8 marks, which is what you need to be looking to aim for. That is just point and evidence describing what you know. You will be able to do that providing you are doing sufficient revision of your knowledge. Okay, that finishes going through the test. You now need to go over what you have written. You can go back over this presentation as many times as you like, pause it, rewind it, read the annotations that have been done on the sample answers, use those to help you look at your own answers and see what you've done well, where you need to improve. Remember that I'm expecting to see your annotated answers and your set targets after you have seen this presentation. This will help you to improve your answers and then carry forward these skills into the exam. If you have any questions, make sure you bring them to your teacher.